Hi everyone, welcome back to A Maker Studios YouTube channel. My name is Lianep and I'm so excited that you are here with us today. Normally you'll find me on my own YouTube channel, DIY Beauty on Purpose, where I create DIY home decor all on a budget. Alright, so the first thing that we are going to use some pieces of scrap wood because we are creating today a book stack, but I want it to be not using real books, instead using just some scrap wood that I had in my garage. As you can tell, these are truly pieces of scrap wood, but I love keeping these little pieces because then you can create new items with a new decor, and it's always so much fun. So I've got several thickness, several sizes, but they're all about the same length. So if you're going to recreate something like this, I highly suggest you just at least keep them in this around the same. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to stack them yet, but the first thing that we're using is this. We're going to use 3 different Amy Howard at home paints. This is the Dunavent green, the Weybridge white, and the Serenity gray. Hope I said those right. I think they look really good together, and I think it's going to look good on the wood. I'm also going to be using some chalk art, and this is in their Slow as Molasses. It's kind of like a brown, a dark brown. Of course, we're going to be using also a stencil, and I really love this stencil. I've used it before for another project, and I think it's going to be really nice to maybe use a piece of it. I'm not quite sure yet which side I'm going to use, but I am loving the little bike here, so maybe I'll use that bike, but we'll see. I'm also going to be using some florals that I already have on hand. They're just pieces left over from other picks that I already had. I may switch them up. We'll see how everything starts looking. And then I'm going to use several types of ribbon, but all complementing each other. So that's just what I'm going to be using, but I highly encourage you to use what you already have at home in regards to like flowers and ribbon. That's just the best way of doing things. All of these products that we are using today, the stencil, the paint, they are going to be down in the description box in a link to A Maker Studio so that you can get them if you like. So let's get started. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to get the wood prepped for some paint. So I'm going to use my electric sander because it just goes a lot quicker, but you can certainly use a sanding block like this one. You can find these at the dollar store, or you can use a regular like sandpaper. It don't matter if it needs to be like, if like this pieces of wood are pretty rough, so using a rougher side first and then a smoother side would be ideal. So let's just get started. I'm just gonna start sanding all over so that we can smooth the wood and get it prepped for some paint. All right, so now that they are sanded, I'm just going to wipe them down really well. I just want to make sure that they're not going to have any dust or anything like that before I paint, because I want that paint to really adhere to the surface. So I think this one actually, it was part of an old desk that I redid and flipped a long time ago, and I just cut it to size to fit and match the other pieces. I don't know where this one came from, but it was already painted for something apparently. All right, so I'm just going to wipe them down. And this one was left over from one that I worked with. So they all have their own story, and my goal is to get this book stack sold on my booth. So hopefully it'll sell really quickly. All right, so now that they're clean, we're gonna start painting them. I have to decide which one I'm gonna paint, which color. So the first thing I wanna do is decide how I'm going to stack them. So originally, I think this is a good look for it, like thin, thicker, thin. I think that looks good, so I think I'm gonna go with that. And having that as my pattern, I gotta then come up with what color I want. I think I'm gonna do green at the bottom, gray, and then white on top. So white, gray, green. I think I'm gonna do that. That's gonna look good. All right, so let's do that. This one's gonna go white. Again, this is the Weybridge White by Amy Howard at Home. And let's just get started. Hopefully it doesn't bleed through. Sometimes when you have raw wood, especially hardwood like this is, you get bleed through. And if I do, then I'll just spray it with a top coat and then give it one more coat of paint. But we'll see how this first coat behaves. And I'm not worried about painting the bottom because I am going to be gluing each piece together to the next. That way it doesn't move on me. So I'm not overly concerned about getting the bottom painted, although you can if you want. Let's put that one to the side. I'm just gonna use the same brush. I'm just gonna kind of remove the excess paint because it'll be all right. This is the Serenity Gray. Just a very light gray. It's beautiful. Love that color. All right, so the middle one's gonna go gray. So we are going to, look how pretty. Amy Howard at Home paint is stunning. I love working with it. It's very smooth, great coverage, and it just goes on like melted butter. So lovely to work with. All right. Okay, so we're just gonna finish this one up. How pretty that is. It'd be a great color for spring, summer, and even fall. I think adding this green to fall would be beautiful. All right, there's the green. There you go. Now, because this one is the bottom piece, I am going to paint the bottom of it once this one dries. So I'll be giving it a coat underneath. And then I am going to give the white one another coat, and I think the gray one is fine just like it. So, all right, so we have our three pieces painted. I love the combination of all three. I think it's gonna look really good. And I am going to keep the thin, thick, thin format. So the goal here is to have what will be the front of the book stack flush with each other. And then that way it just mimics a little bit more of a book stack, although it can be uneven. But for the next step, which is stenciling, I want to make sure I have it as flush as possible. So in order to be able to stencil it, because that's going to be the next step, I am going to stencil it using this stencil, and I am going to request the help of my daughter so that she can keep them, or help me keep them straight and not fall. I am going to put this one here to put right here, and I think that's going to help me, maybe even a little thicker. Let me find something to place underneath. Do you see what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to give me a that's much better. Now I can, you see how it's opening up? She's gonna come and she's gonna hold these just like this. All right, so as I mentioned, the stencil that we're gonna be using is this. I have used it before, but I haven't used the entire stencil. I've only used a portion of it. A Maker Studios stencils are reusable, and that's the beautiful thing about it. As you can see, I already used this side, but I can reuse that part again. It's not gonna hurt it or anything. I am going to do the bike. I think that's going to look so pretty. Now, in other videos, I have cut the stencil to give me a little bit more of a manageable size. For this one, I'm going to keep because everything kind of flows together if I ever want to use it on a different DIY. All right, so we are going to pull the stencil, and I'm actually going to just pull half of it. I want to avoid having all the excess sticky side stick to any other surface. So we're just going to do this, and I am going to take the stencil and just place it, let me see, maybe to this side. I want that bike to be right there. so now that it is stuck, it's time to bring in the chalk paste, and this is the color that we're going to use, which is Slow as Molasses. We are going to be using the squeegee, and let me open this for you. The paste is usually really thick, way thicker than paint, so a little bit goes a long way, but if we need to grab more, of course we will. So we're just going to start there. And I don't want to do the whole stencil. I don't want to do the whole thing. I do want the bike to be there for sure. And then I'm just going to sporadically just stencil here and there to give it a very distressed look. And you'll see what I'm talking about. So the bike I want to for sure have completely stenciled. And I'm being purposely a little messy. Like I'm not being very careful like I normally would, because I do want some other of that designs around it to really be there as well. So all right, so you see, like I already have the bike, and then I'm just gonna maybe do like a little bit over here, a little bit over here in the corner, just here and there, just to kind of give me a little bit, almost like the stencil has been on this piece for a while and it has faded through the year. And that's it. That's all we're gonna do. We're gonna remove it. Looks like it's gonna work really well. That looks so pretty. Thank you, my beautiful daughter. So I love that you can still see the bike very well, and then everything else just kind of looks like it at one point had something there, and through the years it has distressed and faded, and I love the way it looks. All right, we are going to let this dry fully, then we're going to put everything else together and give it some pretty look. So it is mostly dry. It may be a little tacky still, but we're not going to touch it much. All right, so we're going to make sure that that bike lines up the way it was, and we're just going to add some hot glue in between the pieces. It doesn't have to be like wood glue, although you can add wood glue if you want. I'm just going to make sure that bike lines up. There we go. And then we're gonna add some hot glue here, and not much is needed, just a little bit is fine. This is coming along very, very pretty. Okay, now it's time to add some details. I have several ribbons because I thought it would be very pretty to kind of layer the ribbons. So I'm gonna start with this it's kind of thick, but we're gonna fold it in half. And I think that's gonna look very pretty. So let's do that. I'm going to take, and then I'm going to see how much I need. We'll get it going here. I'm just gonna cut a piece. All right. We're gonna fold it in half. And then we are going to, let me think. I think I want to hot glue it on top so it's not so thick at the bottom for me. We're going to put it towards the left side of the arrangement. So I'm just going to do kind of like this, and I'm going to see what it looks like. I'm going to move it in ever so lightly. Let's see. I think that looks nice. I like it there. Okay. I'm going to cut a piece of that. And we're just going to add some hot glue and put it there. Now, if you've ever worked with like burlap or anything like that, whenever you hot glue, it kind of goes through the little holes, and it ends up, you know, adhering very, very well. All right, now we're going to bring this side up. And we're just going to add hot glue on that end. And then I have this other ribbon that's very beautiful, almost like a lace, and I get it at the Dollar Tree, very inexpensive, and this is the one I'm gonna layer right over it. And I think that's just gonna add a very beautiful just texture and just contrast to the burlap. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna add a little bit of hot glue in there. And we're gonna bring this one up and hot glue it right there. I thought I would put a third ribbon, but I think these two look really good. So I'm just gonna leave it like this. All right, so now it's time to add some greenery and some florals to the top to just finish everything off. I have this piece of it was a garland that I got at Five Below, and I did a wreath with it, and I had this piece left over, so I think I'm gonna cut a piece of it, and this is what I'm gonna start with. I think it's gonna look so pretty having maybe like a larger leaf like this right on top. I think that's gonna look very nice. So I'm just gonna put some hot glue and put that one right there. That green just really pops, and it complements this green very nicely because of the lighter green detail on there. I got these florals at Walmart, and I just love that it has that like brownish beige color, and I just really like the style. So I'm gonna grab a few just little branches off of it and see how I just want to attach them. So I'm just gonna start cutting a few here and there. I'm gonna cut this one, and then this one is a little larger than that one, the flower. And then, let's see, maybe this one. All right, let's start there. And I also have these little, they look like baby's breath, but they're not. They're just small little white flowers. I actually thrifted these so long ago, and I just thought it would look real pretty right on top here of the greenery. Wouldn't that be pretty? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut off a lot of the excess stem, so that I don't have that poking, oops, so I don't have that poking out way back here. So we're just gonna add some more hot glue. We're gonna hot glue that one right there. So I'm gonna take some of these, and I'm just gonna start adding some hot glue to the little stem, and then placing them right inside of the arrangement. That way you don't see any of the glue, but it'll just really fill in some spots. Same with this one. Just gonna add some glue. Put it right there. All right, so for the next one, I'm just gonna add this one right here. Just gonna add hot glue right in there and add that flower. And then for the last one, I'm gonna remove the stem completely. And then this is the one we're gonna hot glue right here, and it's just gonna hide all of these stems right here nicely. And you won't even know that they're all there. And I think this book stack looks so stunning. I absolutely love it. You're gonna have to let me know what you think of this book stack. I actually love the way it turned out. It has that farmhouse shabby chic look, but it's just muted, and it'll complement any home decor. But let me know in the comments what you think of it. Don't forget to subscribe to A Maker Studios channel. Just hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit that notification bell so you do not miss any of their uploads. Also, again, don't forget to check out the description box that you're going to find all kinds of links and information about the products that we used today. And also, don't forget to visit my channel, DIY Beauty on Purpose. That way you'll get tons of inspiration as well. And if you love what you see, I hope you join our family as well. Have a blessed day, have fun creating, and I'll see you later. Bye.